Well, the Ravens set to get their leader of the flock back after missing 3 straight games. QB1 Lamar Jackson, after the hamstring injury, is expected to play against the Dolphins. Coach John Harbaugh said Monday he is confident the 2-time MVP will be back on the field. But yesterday, Action Jackson all smiles, doubling down that he's ready to roll.
Extremely excited. Can't wait to touch the grass with my guys, man. Been a while.
How challenging has the last few weeks? I mean, take us back to when you got hurt and come out, because we haven't spoken to you in about a month.
Yeah, it was very challenging, man. When I found out I had a hamate injury, and when I was told by the training staff how long I was gonna be out and stuff like that, we got to do whatever we can, fast as we could to get back out there, and it's here.
Is it going to feel like playoff time at this point?
Yeah, Coach pretty much touched on that, talking about that. With us in the team meeting, each and every game gonna be like a win or go home game. We started off first season ever starting off like this slow, so we're gonna have to just do or die right now, each and every week.
He got the shicey on, so it means business. Take a look at the North. Without Jackson last week, the Ravens were able to get a win in that column, 30-16. The reason why they're 2-5. But take a look at it. Vegas, they still love the Birds. -110 compared to the Bengals and Steelers above them in the AFC North. The favorites to win it all when it comes to that division. All right, for more on the Ravens, our lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones tapping in, and of course other news around the NFL. But let's start right there, JJ. Lamar ready to get it rolling tomorrow night. We'll see how that happens against the Dolphins there. Assuming he's able to get back to his old tricks and able to add another win in the column, how should we view the Ravens? I feel like it's a different conversation every week.
It is, right? But then you're talking about 2 straight wins for the Baltimore Ravens coming off what otherwise was a terrible weekend for their division, right? I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers losing, the Cincinnati Bengals losing. We know the Cleveland Browns lost, but they're not going to be a factor if we're talking about December and January football. And so, as crazy as it may seem, as much as the odds were against it, when they were 1-5, they could come out of a 4-day stretch, and then ultimately, they very well can be, 3-5. And then, look at this schedule, because they are 2 games behind right now, the Steelers, in terms of wins. They haven't played the Steelers yet. So week 14 and week 18, the Ravens can win out, the Steelers can win out. And when those 2 games are played, those games will very likely, at least as it stands right now, decide the division. I don't know if any other team from this vaunted division will ultimately get a wild card. I'm anticipating the Bengals won't hold up necessarily, and so it could be a 2-horse race, and it comes down to those 2 games in week 18 and week 14. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson said no more games within the building. He was the person, he said, who got rid of the ping pong table, who got rid of the video games in the locker room, went to the equipment staff and said, hey, let's take these out. And he thanked the Ravens owner for allowing them to have it, but he said, we got to focus in. We got to hone in on the task at hand. We heard him there repeating what Coach Harbaugh said about how it's do or die every single week. Obviously, if this is a 2-horse race, if it does come down to weeks 14 and 18 and how they perform against the Pittsburgh Steelers, then no, they actually don't have to win every game. But of course, that is going to be the mentality. It should be the mentality in every NFL locker room, going 1-0 every week.
By the way, Lamar said he was going to take the TVs too. They just couldn't rip them out the walls. They just turned them off as well. So no fun zone when it comes to the Ravens there. By the way, they have the 5th easiest schedule, or the easiest schedule for the next 5 weeks. So as you mentioned, your point to them getting some wins. Out of New Orleans, the Saints giving their keys to Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler, now QB2. What have you heard about this move? Because this is something we thought would happen back in August and September.
So the Saints, of course, when Kellen Moore takes over, he thinks that he's going to get an on-the-mend, a healthy Derek Carr. Then we get the retirement from Derek Carr. Then at the draft, they go with Tyler Shough. And, the Saints gave Tyler Shough every opportunity to win that job. It was truly an open competition. And the rookie, he didn't seize it. He didn't take it. Spencer Rattler very clearly won that competition. And so, obviously, Rattler, his play actually wasn't all that terrible this past week. But they bench him. They can't really get anything going on offense. Shough comes in. He sat there. He's learned. They hope that it's going to inject a little life into this offense. It does not appear that the Saints are willing to send off many pieces on the offensive side in terms of ahead of the trade deadline. It would probably be one receiver, either Rashid Shaheed or Chris Olave. Depends on what a team is willing to give up. Saints don't want to give up Chris Olave. That's the better player for the longer term. We'll see if they wind up trading away some defensive pieces, but they're hoping for a bit of a spark. They're hoping to see some progression week to week. They don't want to play musical chairs. Kellen Moore, former quarterback, he doesn't want to start Tyler Shough this week. He struggles for a week and a half. He has to put in Spencer Rattler. I don't think that's what this is. This is absolutely turning the page. I think they have seen enough from Spencer Rattler in almost a full season's worth of work when you combine his starts from last year. And now it's time to see what you have in Tyler Shough. And if you have to go invest more in the quarterback position when it comes to free agency or the draft, of course, the Saints are very likely going to be picking in the top 3 of the 2026 NFL draft. So that's where the Saints stand right now, hoping to just get a little bit of life and excitement in that offense.
To be honest with you, JJ, I've been listening to Ryan. I don't know who's out there in QB land when it comes to next year's draft, so we'll see what happens to New Orleans there. In New England, the Patriots, let's just say they're dealing before the deadline, but not the way we thought. Instead of buying, they're selling so far, sending Kyle Duggar to the Steelers and Keon White to the Niners. Are you surprised by the moves? Of course, they still have time before the deadline, but are you surprised they're selling instead of buying right now?
No, not at all, especially with those two players. You know, Keon White, he was drafted in 2023. Kyle Duggar was one of the last members of a Belichick draft class. They just haven't fit with what Mike Vrabel wants to do on the football field. And so I don't know if we're going to flash up their stats necessarily from this season. They're not going to be very impressive because they haven't really been on the field because they don't fit into what this new regime is doing. And so Keon White and Kyle Duggar both have been very clearly disposable with that team. Everyone around the league has known that they could be dealt. And so that's why you see a couple of 6th-round picks heading back to New England. Kyle Duggar cutting off a couple years of his contract, going to the Steelers, who desperately need safety help. They had some veterans like Von Bell and Eddie Jackson in the building for workouts yesterday, and then obviously not seeing what they wanted to see from there. And so sending draft capital to bring in Kyle Duggar and Keon White, going to a San Francisco 49ers team, I think second fewest sacks in the NFL, losing Bosa, having other injuries along that group, and so needing some help there. And so they sent a 6th-round pick to New England. All
right, we'll see how those respective moves work out for those new teams. As always, Jonathan Jones, our team player when it comes to everything in the NFL. Appreciate it, JJ. Don't forget the conversation continues on the weekends, and also Game Day Reset. Look at JJ, front and center. Get back, Joe and B-Mac. This is Jonathan Jones Show, goddammit. Sundays at 4 Eastern. Game Day Reset.